Hello everyone. Welcome back to the stream. Today we're at Silverstone for the penultimate round of our EU versus US Championship on LMU. We have some more racing. It could be a tough one. Of course, Silverstone much smoother than some of the tracks we've been to recently, like Coda, Sebring, but still a difficult circuit in its own right, especially with the cold conditions we have. Welcome everyone. Yes, Silverstone. As you can see, the ambient and track temps about 20-21 degrees. It is very overcast. So it is. Very overcast. Which means, cool temperatures, which is going to make qualifying a bit difficult. You'll see as we go out. For qualifying, right, away we go then for the start of qualifying. And yeah, this outlap, it's not going to be a quick one, that's for sure. Welcome, Geeky. Good to see you. Hope you've been having a good week. Just turn into Stowe and car. No, doesn't want to turn. But we do want to be careful in the tires a bit too, because Silverstone, of course, love medium to high speed corners, high energy corners that do wear the tires out. Of course, as Formula One's been coming here, this has been the track that's highlighted the F1, the Pirellis, sort of being a bit, maybe not quite up to spec, you could say, not being able to quite withstand the extremes of Formula One. Of course, the failures in 2013, and then once again the sidewall failures in 2020. Really just showcases how much energy the cars put into the tires around all the corners on here. It's been okay, a bit busy today, but Friday tomorrow. Yes, the weekend is fast approaching. So it is. As we head onto our first flying lap here. Track a bit less, sky, quite a few less clouds. It's looking much brighter than it was in practice. Track temp reflects that. It's 26 degrees, a good 5-6 degrees warmer than it was during practice. That's going to make it a little bit easier to get the tires up to temperature, but yeah, if we do go long enough, we'll make them more susceptible to overheating. See, tires still need a bit more temperature in them. Just want to try and make sure we don't wear the tires out too much. Starting to feel more grip from the tires, especially on the left-hand side. One thing with these hypercars, since they don't have a tremendous amount of downforce. They have quite a bit of downforce, don't get me wrong. It's not a tremendous amount though. And of course they are a bit over, they're over 1,000 kilos, so they're not the lightest of prototypes. You really do feel that around here at Silverstone. They're just not quite as agile as single-seaters you might drive around here, or especially the ELMS LMP2 car. You know, you just can't throw it around as much. As we should be able to start to push just a little bit more now. Maybe not quite full push just yet. Not too worried about this lap getting invalidated. Right then, our first proper push lap. Of course, start finish line towards Copse corner 1, use the entry curb, open the corner up as much as possible, down 5th gear, get the car turned into apex, pick up the throttle. Could have been a little bit braver through there, but I mean, it'll save a bit of tire. Down 6th gear then for the first part of Maggots, down 4th then for the left-hander of Beckett's, 3rd for the right-hander. Pick up throttle as early as you dare, use all the curb as you head out through the exit of Chapel Corner. Towards Stowe then. Tricky corner break just after the gravel starts. 4th gear, sweep the car in its long corner, pick up the throttle as soon as you dare. Use a little bit of the exit curb. Quickly we end up on the Vale chicane, careful with the braking. Easy to lock the rears up with how slow speed of a corner. You want to try and get a good exit. Run out to the exit curb. Allows you to carry speed out of Vale chicane and opens up Club Corner, making it a little bit easier. Abbey then holds 6th gear, tip the car in, then flat out through the left-hander. Farm, this is really preparing yourself for the braking zone of Village corner, swing it into the right-hander, then pull the car back to the right-hand side, down to first gear for the tight left-hander of the loop, slowest corner of the track. Important traction zone as your flat-out 3 entry onto the Wellington Straight. Good overtaking opportunity coming up with Bricklands. Braking just after the curb on the right starts, swing the car in for a late apex as the corner tightens up, and then we get into the field. Can take a couple of different lines through the field, very long right-hander. Then you fire yourself out towards the start-finish line. It'll be P3 for our first representative lap. Now we'll push on some more, finding a 10th in Copse Corner start our next lap. As we come out of Maggots Beckett's down the Hanger Straight, we're 3/10 up now. Maybe a little deep into the Veal chicane, compromising the exit. We're now 4/10 up. Oh, just too deep into Village. Maybe a little too deep into the field. Didn't lose us too much time though. We have one more lap of fuel. Practically matching our first sector. Again, a bit of understeer, three Stowe corner costs us a 10th. Notice this in practice, the tyres really have just lost a bit of performance. The car just doesn't feel as agile this lap. Especially through the right-handers. A little bit of locking coming into left field. Shortest line, run to the line, saves us 100th, but yeah, the tyres, they just didn't quite hold up for that final lap. I think there's going to be a little bit of strategy in this race of like how you manage the tyres. I think there'll actually be some importance to it. As looks like we'll end up in P4. I just want to check fuel usage. Yeah, by 3.5. That's what I was expecting. So car setup, full fuel, new tires, need a little bit of extra fuel ratio again. Yeah, so we can maybe energy save to go 29 laps. How long do we think the race is gonna be? Is the question. 35 laps. Okay, 35 laps. So there'll be a stint at 29 laps. And then 6 laps to the end. That'll be interesting. Very close there. Just over 300ths of a second separating 5th, 6th, and 7th. 2 Porsches and a Cadillac. Very close there. But yeah, we've got a 7/10 margin to them. They've actually improved. Again, bumped himself a few hundredths further in front. Yeah, I think, this could be a race where just because you're quick in the first part of the race doesn't necessarily mean you'll be quick in the second half of the race when the tires are wearing. It should be quite interesting. So it should be. So as we wait for session 2 tick over. How are the GT3s looking? Ford on pole, Mercedes second, Ford third and fourth. It's fairly split, so it does. New tires, got the fuel. We've got our fuel ratio set correctly. Very overcast again in the race, down to 20 degrees. At least we'll have, of course, some temperature in the tires from sort of a simulated formation lap. Obviously, while we wait, we'll start pit stop. 21%. 3.43 will be our number to hit 29 laps. Shouldn't be too hard. A little bit of fuel saving might also help the tires.
formation lap has started.
So then here we go. Of course, outside for the run to the line is gonna put us a little bit of a disadvantage. Oh, the game really forces you out wide here.
Green flag, green flag.
Yeah, like that, we've already lost a place. Wow, you're massively squeezing me onto the curb. Given very little room there. Yeah, so not been a great start, but not too much that we can do about that. Apex in there somewhere. Quite a bit of a lock-up from the car in front. Daily, we'd like to get in front of this Porsche sooner rather than later, but don't want to use up a load of tyre trying to do so. Oh. Rear end just let go there. You absolutely do not want to put a wheel on to the inside of that curb on the left part of Beckett's. It just immediately has the rear end snapping out. Obviously much better through Village that time. Can feel the tires right at its peak at the moment. The car's just a bit pointier. Bit more responsive. Can see the portion in front is sliding around a bit. This point I wouldn't say I'm pushing too hard. I'm just sort of driving to pace. There goes one of the two Porsches. I'm assuming they just took a little too much of the curb, and that's caused, it's basically guaranteed snap from my experience. I feel like the tires are already starting to drop off the peak. too tight on the right-hander of Beckett's there. That's a risky move on the Mercedes. Porsche's had a little bit of a messy sector. Just can't follow the Porsche onto the curb. Had to straighten the steering wheel up just to make sure we didn't unsettle the car. Very tight line into Bricklands for the Porsche ahead. That was harsh. That GT3 really worried me. It just was like daring its nose back into that gap that I needed to try and cut back on the GT3 in front of me. That was risky. That's a GT3 off. That was the GT3 leader. Oh, come on. Oh, for goodness sakes. Oh yeah, I have to fix this. How are the tires? I'm gonna assume they're not too bad. Uh... 64 seconds of damage. Yeah, that puts us a lap behind. I mean, obviously we'll make time back up when everyone else pits. But we'll be too far back to do anything, really. Tires aren't flat spotted, which is nice. Thought the rear was starting to slide. That was close. Yeah, the tires are fine, thankfully. That's a little deep. Yeah, there goes rear again. I thought at first it's like, oh, this might be going, and it's like, oh, maybe it's fine, and then no, it was going. GT3 has deposited a wheel onto the grass. What line is that? Oh, the leading Porsche is in. Although they're not filling up with VE. Oh, they have filled it up with a bit of VE. They're a little bit on the low side compared to what I went with. still in the pits, just running to pit exit now. There they were, just on the radar. So they come out sort of right behind us, but they do have a fair bit less VE. Again, the rear left wheel just starting to lock in that braking zone. Luckily it wasn't as big of a twitch. I wonder if Ben has gone for new tires because he's losing quite a bit of time. On this lap. A 4-minute and 8-second lap time. Had to get a flash right there. Make sure I had space on the outside. Ooh. That's close with the Mustang on the exit of T1. I've seen them run a little bit wide on the curb, and they just came back onto the track a little more than I thought they would. Just see the different lines that me and Tyler take through Maggots and Beckett's. Tyler's got S3. One day me and Tyler will have an actual battle. But today is not that day. Getting in front is over the pits. And Kirk doesn't seem to be closing in on us at all. Whether he's still trying to get new tires up to temperature or, I don't know, having to save fuel perhaps. A little bit wide there out of the loop. Just getting on that curb hindered the acceleration. Need to stop cutting that first apex of the Ville chicane. Too tight on the apex there. Ben's starting to pick up the pace into the 45s now. closed in. The car in front had a very slow lap last time around, 155.0. Oh yeah, Ben has picked up the pace. Fastest lap of the race. Good opening sector, finding a little bit of time. Nearly 3/10 on our current fastest lap. Apologies for connection issues. OBS doing its thing again, and Ben's going even quicker. Time loss for the cars in front pitting is only going to be about 40 seconds. So we're nowhere close to catching any of the other cars. Mustang making its intentions very clear. That was going to let us through. Just quite nice. I think it was going to hold us up through Stowe Corner. That was a little bit of a sketchy Ville chicane. Getting into the GT3 traffic once again. Get another close one there with the Mustang heading into T1. Well, that was close with the Mercedes. I was just praying it seen the move I was going for and left me the space. Alright, hopefully don't lose too much time behind this car. Nice, quick, easy move into the loop. Did cost us a little bit of time though. Truth be told, I'm pretty sure I do have the energy now to push flat out for the rest of this race. I easily do. It's just that I feel quite comfortable fuel saving at the moment, to be honest. The gap to Ben behind hasn't really decreased that much in the last few laps. Again, not sure why OBS is disconnecting so much recently. Gap to the Porsche in front is rapidly decreasing, and they're not in the pits. They've retired. Oh, that's a disaster for them. Ben lost a little bit of time last lap for the 88. Lost 2 seconds. Fuskin's got a stop-go penalty. Fortunately for them, they've got enough of a gap to us that, you know, it's not going to cost them any places. Dave Wood as well with the stop-go. Oh, pit entry. It is a difficult pit entry, you know, you've got that corner that's right in the middle of the braking zone. So it's not just about, you know, it's not an easy straight line braking zone. It's really difficult trying to master just how late can you brake while also not locking a tire, taking the right-hander in between two walls as well, of course. You know, you don't have a lot of space to play with to open the corner up, or if you have a bit of a lock-up, you know, you can very easily ding the wall. I've just noticed Tyler still has to pit. So it looks like Fuskin and Dave looks like it's not going to cost them any positions. What line was that? Just went in way too quick. As per usual, the track limits at Copse very harsh. Oh, Tyler is out in front of Fuskin. So Fuskin's going to be full push now to try and catch Tyler. Hopefully Tyler has some pace to hold on to P3. Mustang just getting out of her way. 5 minutes left in the race. That was awkward timing. Mercedes into the pits. Don't know if it's time for the G3s to be pitting. Ben has been starting to close the gap down a bit. I think he's on a final push for the end of the race. We still have nearly 10 seconds of a gap. Yeah, and Ben's not gained this lap, maybe getting hampered by traffic. Oh, the Mercedes wanted to pit. Pit with only 2.5 minutes left. Well, they went long. Either that Mercedes was trying to block me, or they just take a really wide line into the left-hander there. Where's the leader on track? Coming out of Beckett's. Oh, there might be 2 more laps after this. That does seem to be the case. I mean, Alfie has a gap in the lead. If they wanted to slow down, make this the final lap, they could. Mercedes making its intentions very clear there. Time has ran out. Alfie has started one more lap. Oh, Fuskin gained 2 seconds on Tyler last lap. Tyler needs a good final lap here to hold on. Oh, Ben was slapped by Alfie. Or I don't know, that gap opened up a few seconds at the end. I wonder if Ben let Alfie through to do one last lap, or if Alfie caught him and passed him. Either way, that means we're under no threat here on the final lap. Fuskin has gone on to the back of Tyler now. Tyler just about holds on. Fuskin had a good charge at the end there. We had 2 laps extra worth of fuel. I thought this might have been a 45 lap race. But yeah, then I ended up, I saved an extra lap of fuel. I mean, we finished on the lead lap for the mistake that we made and the damage that we had to repair. Remember, it was a whole minute's worth of damage, plus the crawling back to the pits. I think that might have cost us like another 30 seconds. Maybe not, let's not say 30 seconds. I think that's a bit much. Maybe 20 seconds. But I mean, we were within, 60 seconds of Dave there. And we did, that whole sort of... Well, from when we made the pit stop to the... from when we made the pit stop to obviously when everyone else pitted, we had an extra 18 liters of fuel or something like that, maybe about 15, 16 kilos of fuel, just running that little bit heavier. And of course the spin would have hurt the tires a little bit. It didn't hurt them too much, I don't think. Maybe like a tenth a lap, let's say. But yeah, it's the potential was there in the end. It didn't seem like a great start, but you look at those two things and it's like, yeah, without that mistake, it very well could have been a good race. Yeah, which is a shame. It's a shame indeed, but yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. The Hypercars unforgiving as always. Next week, we are heading to Interlagos for the final round next week. Will hopefully be a good one. yeah, Interlagos next week should be an interesting one. Interlagos always a bit of a difficult track with multi-class, especially that very technical middle sector. So it could be interesting. Should be interesting. And yeah, hopefully we can end the season out with a clean race. It's been a couple of messy races, pitting to repair damage early on. So yeah, hopefully we can, but yeah, we'll have to wait till next week to find out. In the meantime, we should also have a race next Wednesday. It was originally going to be yesterday, but it got pushed back to next week by the organisers. It's another 60-minute race, typically. I'm a little bored of 60-minute races, but it seems to be what most people are doing. McLaren GT3s, full field of them, sort of one spec, one make series, full field of them at Silverstone National once again. So yeah, nice to take a little break from the prototypes, jump into a GT3 for a bit. Hopefully, can have a good race there. Yeah, hopefully have a bit of fun. But yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. First of all, but yeah, that's it. Thank you, Kiki. Drum by chatting a little bit. Hope you have a good Friday and a good weekend. Good start to next week as well. Same for everyone watching. Thank you very much for watching. As well to those watching the VOD back or they've been lurking. Thank you, as always. Hopefully I'll see you next week for a couple of races. Yeah, till then, as I said, have a good weekend. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.